shall we begin?
Let the games begin.
All right.
A new age has begun. An age of freedom.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Get to the chopper!
This is going to be quite the ride.
And hello, everybody, and welcome to the Movie Pit Podcast. I am your host, Christian Renteria. Thank you very much for joining me on the podcast this week. This is the podcast where we talk about all the big breaking movie news items of the week, along with the trailers that came out this week and the movies that are out in theaters and streaming this weekend for all your viewing pleasures. This week's going to be very interesting for me, editing-wise, and even right now recording, because I am recording this from a brand new place. A place I've never recorded from before, and a place I'm a little self-conscious about, because I'm pretty out in the open. I am recording this from my car. I'm recording this from a car during my lunch break at work because I don't know how much time I will have to record a podcast tomorrow, and I don't want to release the podcast late like I did last week or the week before, because last week was Thanksgiving. But I don't want to do that. So bear with me this week with editing background sounds that you may hear, something like that. But I'm recording from a car. The audio I won't know until after I obviously start editing and stuff. So I apologize for any audio issues this week or anything along those lines. Please bear with me and stuff. I apologize for that. But hopefully everyone had a very good Thanksgiving, or at least a very good weekend at the very least. Maybe you bought some stuff online. I know I did. I'm not going to divulge how much I spent because I don't want to. Hello, everybody. This week's kind of interesting. There was no real big trailers that came out this week. There were some small trailers and stuff like that, but nothing really noteworthy for me to talk about. Also this week, there's not really there's no movies out in theaters. The only movies we're going to talk about are the ones out on streaming. And even then, we're just going to talk about one. So this is really more of a news week. And even then, some of the stuff that I have so far, time of this recording, is not a lot. So this may end up being a short podcast this week once again. That said, though, let's get to it. We're going to start off with some quick-fire movie news items, or I guess just regular movie news items, because, again, there's not that much. But a third Magic Mike movie is in the works. It will be titled Magic Mike's Last Dance. Channing Tatum will return as Mike Lane, with writer Reed Caroline and director Steven Soderbergh. Of course, both wrote and directed, or at least Reed Caroline wrote the first two movies and Steven Soderbergh directed the first two movies. They will come back as well to fill out those positions once again. The third movie will stream on HBO Max, so you can watch it comfortably at home. No word yet on who else will return, but I'm guessing they'll probably bring back some familiar faces. There's also no word yet on when production will begin. Tatum did tweet out the cover, or at least, the cover page of the script, presumably probably, making the assumption that the script is already done. So now it's moving on to the next phase of production. I've never seen the Magic Mike movies, mainly because they're not really targeted toward me. And I don't know. I guess this is really more for the ladies. And maybe some guys out there too, no judgment. This is a judgment-free zone. Moving on, David Dastmalchian, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. I always feel bad about not pronouncing his last name right, or potentially pronouncing his last name wrong, because I really like him. He's from Ant-Man. He was recently, of course, in the Suicide Squad as Polka Dot Man. He was also in Dune as well. He's joined the cast of Boston Strangler. The cast already includes Keira Knightley, Carrie Coon, Alessandro Nivola, and Chris Cooper. The film will also be written and directed by Matt Ruskin, who has written films like Booster and Crown Heights. This will be his pretty much big breakout directorial role, just because of the cast and of course the material surrounding it. The movie will center on Loretta McCollin, played by Knightley, a reporter who broke the story of the Strangler along with reporter Jean Cole. McGoffin challenged the sexism of the era, pursuing the story at personal risk and uncovering corruption that cast doubt on the identity of the Strangler, who from 1962 and 1964 killed a confirmed 11 women. There's no word yet on who Dastmalchian will play, but it is described as a, quote, pivotal and undisclosed role. Of course, everyone is assuming that he's probably playing the Strangler, or at the very least, someone like a red herring to the Boston Strangler, because, we love him, and he's a really nice guy from interviews, but he has that look. Filming will begin in Boston this month. Other than that, no other details are known just yet. The reboot for White Man Can't Jump has found its director in music video director Climactic. I think that's how you pronounce the name, hopefully. He recently also wrapped up production on another comedy reboot, House Party, which we've talked about briefly here on the podcast when that was starting up. Climactic, by the way, comes, like I mentioned, from the music video world. He's directing music videos for DJ Khaled and Lil Nas X. So, of course, he directed the Old Town Road music video, which I'm pretty sure is what put him on the map for a lot of people. So there is that. There's little information on how the reboot will approach the material, but the original did follow two street basketball players, of course, played by Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes, who start as adversaries and then team up to, hustle people out of their money on basketball. Kenya Barris, the creator of ABC's Blackish, NBA star Blake Griffin, and NFL lineman Ryan Callie are all involved in the production side of things, with Barris co-writing the movie with Doug Hall, who also writes on Blackish and also writes for the Blackish spinoff, Grownish. Production is still up in the air and no release date is announced just yet either, but now with the director in tow, I'm pretty sure that reboot's going to be moving a little faster than usual. This next bit of news, it's not so big surprise. It's not a very big surprise, but it is nice to hear, especially considering all the hype that will be coming up these next few weeks. Producer Amy Pascal, who was a key part in the negotiating the collaboration between Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures, has confirmed that the recent deal and partnership will not end after Spider-Man No Way Home. Tom Holland will return to the MCU as Peter Parker / Spider-Man. Pascal spoke to Fandango and said that she and Sony Pictures are planning another trilogy of movies for the web slinger, but of course didn't go into detail on what those movies would be or their approach or what they would be about. This comes after Holland himself, in another interview, said that he doesn't want to play Spider-Man after he's 30. By the way, he's 25, so they have plenty of time to get some more movies out of him before he wants to, quote-unquote, retire from Spider-Man. So there's, like I mentioned, there's some time. In the meantime, of course, December 17th, Spider-Man No Way Home will come out. Everyone's already buzzing. Everyone's got their tickets. Maybe, who knows? I know some countries are still delaying the release of tickets because of COVID and, of course, the new variant, stuff like that. But hopefully, we can hold off and watch this movie on the big screen because we want to watch it. And, we've been through it all. We've been through leaks and photos and theories and rumors and, what have you. So we just want to get it released. And as for Tom Holland, coming back for another set of trilogies from Sony, it's a smart thing. Tom Holland is very well liked as Peter Parker / Spider-Man. So it makes sense that they would obviously want to continue bringing him in. And, they wouldn't have casted someone so young-ish, really, if they didn't want to continue doing a bunch of movies with him. So there you go. We'll stick with the comic book world a little bit. Timur Bekmambetov, the director of movies like Wanted and Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, along with his production company, will team up with another production company to bring Stan Lee's horror works to the big screen. Those projects are, of course, Sawbones and Carnival of Killers. For those unfamiliar with those properties like myself, I didn't know these properties existed. Obviously, we all imagine Stan Lee, or at least the majority of us probably imagine Stan Lee as, the superhero guy, not necessarily a horror writer. But Sawbones follows a 12-year-old Alex Coven who reads a mysterious comic book and is transported into the comic's terrifying world. Apparently, you can't read now. A haunted juvenile detention center overrun by demonic forces led by Sawbones, a homicidal entity who preys upon the troubled inmates. If Alex is to escape, he must find a way to defeat Sawbones, but quickly comes to realize that Sawbones is the keeper of his darkest and the personification of all of his fears. Carnival of Killers, on the other hand, is set during the Dust Bowl in the 30s and follows a young girl with psychic abilities who senses that the traveling carnival she and her mother have sought refuge in is ground zero for a looming alien invasion. Kevin Kolch and Dennis Wildman, who wrote and directed the remake of Pet Sematary 2 years ago, will be writing the script for Carnival of Killers, while Matt Greenberg, who was the other writer on Pet Sematary, will write Sawbones himself. no word yet on when these movies will go into production. These sound pretty cool. I mean, they come from the mind of Stan Lee, and obviously that's really cool, and we're still enjoying all the works of Stan Lee on the big screen. And like I mentioned, I didn't even know that he did horror stuff, so I can't imagine what his stuff will be like horror-wise. I haven't gone and looked up anything from them just yet, but that is on my to-do list, just so I can get at least a little bit of a firm grasp on what to expect from those movies. But this sounds pretty cool, so I'm excited for it. The Mad Max Fury Road spinoff Furiosa has lost its star, or one of its stars anyway, in Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. However, his replacement has already been found in Tom Burke. He played Orson Welles in the Netflix film Mank, if you need a face to the name for that one. The reasoning for Mateen leaving is because his passion project he's been eyeing has moved up its production schedule. So yes, this is a scheduling conflicts issue, which we always hate in these guys. We always hate around here. But he's also launched his own production company called House 1110. And already has a creative partnership with Netflix. No word yet on if the two are connected, but that also came out this week, so I just wanted to mention that. Furiosa will star Anya Taylor-Joy as the title character of Furiosa, who of course was introduced to us in Fury Road by Charlize Theron. So yes, this movie will be a prequel. She's playing a younger version of Furiosa, telling the origins of the character. The other big name in the cast is of course Chris Hemsworth, and yes, the franchise creator, writer, and director George Miller will return to direct a prequel. Pretty cool, in my opinion. Furiosa will come out on May 27th, 2024. I've never seen Tom Burke in anything. I know he's a big TV actor overseas in his native country. I somehow missed out on watching Mank. I actually thought I watched it, and then I realized, no, I didn't. So I have to go and fix that issue. That's my problem. I have to go fix that. So I haven't seen Tom Burke in anything, honestly. And I'm obviously a huge fan of Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. So a little bummed that he's not going to be in it, but still excited for this movie. Still excited to see Anya Taylor-Joy and George Miller work together. Chris Hemsworth is also in there, so I can't wait to see what they got planned for us on that one. And the final news item I have, at least at the time of this recording, is something that has made a lot of fans happy when the news broke out, and still is making a lot of fans happy. And Nicolas Cage will play Dracula. That's right, Nicolas Cage is playing Dracula. Cage has joined Universal's Renfield from director Chris McKay, who of course directed the Lego Batman movie, which will tell the story of Count Dracula's henchman, R.M. Renfield, who will be played by Nicholas Hoult in the movie. Nicholas Hoult, by the way, Beast from the X-Men movies. He was also, why can't I think of anything else he's done? Seriously, why can I not think of anything? He played Tolkien in that Tolkien biopic that not a lot of people liked. Why can't I think of anything else he's done? He was in, what was that zombie movie? What was it called? I can't remember what it was called. Oh, well. But he was, I don't know why. The thing that pops up to me every time I think of Nicholas Hoult is Beast. I don't know why. But anyway, the character, which appeared in Bram Stoker's novel, was a patient in an asylum, obsessed with drinking blood and deluded into thinking he will find immortality. Eventually, he finds Dracula. Dracula finds him and begins to feed him insects and rats, all while dangling everlasting life in front of him. No word yet on the exact approach for the movie, but the movie is being described as a modern-day adventure story with a comedic tone. So there you go. The script is being done by Ryan Ridley, who does a lot of writing for the hit show Rick and Morty, which, considering how that show is, we can probably, get a good grasp of what that movie will be. This also comes from an original story outlined by Robert Kirkman. Yes, that Robert Kirkman, the man behind The Walking Dead. This will also be Cage's first major studio movie since 2011, and that movie was, unfortunately, Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance. He's, of course, been doing a lot of numerous independent movies, although recently Lionsgate did buy the rights to The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, where he plays a version of himself, but that movie was done by someone else, not by Lionsgate. They just bought the rights to it. This would also be Cage's second vampire movie. He did do the 1989 horror comedy Vampire's Kiss, which I don't believe I actually watched, so I have to put that on my list as well. On top of all this, Awkwafina also joined the project a day later, although who she is playing is being kept under wraps at the moment. There's also no word yet on when production will go into, when the movie will go into production. But considering more casting announcements are coming out, I can only expect that they're going to start filming fairly soon. This is pretty cool, though. I know a lot of people are fans of Nicolas Cage. I'm a fan of Nicolas Cage. I know there was like that photo that always pops up every now and then of like this looks like a really old photo, and there's a guy that looks exactly like Nick Cage, like a young Nick Cage, and everyone was like, Nick Cage is a vampire because of that photo. So this is really cool that he's going to be playing Dracula. I don't know, it's probably maybe a passion project for him, maybe it's a dream role for him, we don't know, but seeing him as Dracula, even if it's a kind of like a comedic take on it, I think will be really, really cool. I'm not gonna lie, I'm down for this. So, all right, that's all the movie news items I have, at least at the time of this recording. If anything drops after this recording that I'm doing right now, I will drop it right here. But if that's not the case, we will move on to the movies that are coming out in streaming this weekend.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Like I mentioned, there's no movies coming out in theaters, not even limited release. So whatever you got to catch up on and you want to watch it in theaters, this is the weekend to do it before next week when the movies start coming out again. But all your movies that are new this weekend are coming out on streaming, and all of them are on Netflix. We have Single All the Way, which is a kind of a holiday comedy where a guy who doesn't want. I didn't write any of the cast members on here. I just remember the synopsis as I sat here looking at my outline. But it's about a guy who goes who doesn't want to go home for the holidays alone, so he convinces one of his friends to go with him to not have his family think that he's alone and single still. So there is that. That's Single All Alone. There's also a movie called Mixtape, which is about a young girl who accidentally loses and throws away a mixtape that was given to her by her mom, and obviously the mixtape has a lot of sentimental value, and she goes on a search to look for all the music that was on that mixtape to remake it or something along those lines. I don't remember. I remember seeing the trailer, and for whatever reason I got to that point and then I forgot what it was. But Julie Bowen's in it. She plays the mom. She is of course the mom from Modern Family, if anybody watches that. But the rest of the cast is pretty much filled with young stars. So there is that. And of course the big movie on Netflix this week. This was a movie that's getting a lot of Oscar buzz, so this will probably have to jump to a lot of people's list if you're one of those people who wants to watch all the movies that are probably going to be in the award hunt this year. The Power of the Dog. That's what the movie's called. It's directed and written by Jane Champion and is based off the novel by Thomas Savage. The movie follows a charismatic rancher, Phil Burbank, can't say his name, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, who inspired fear and awe in those around him when his brother brings home a new wife and her son Phil torments them until he finds himself exposed to the possibility of love. Movie co-stars Kirsten Dunst, Cody Smith-McPhee, and Jesse Plemons. I've heard some pretty good things about the movie. I heard that it is very, very good, which is the reason probably why it's getting a lot of big Oscar buzz. I don't know how, obviously early Oscar buzz doesn't always mean that it's going to get, a lot of the Oscar love, but it's a good start, especially for a movie that's coming out directly on Netflix. I don't know if it's getting a limited theater release. Sometimes that may be the case. Maybe they'll put it in theaters a little bit, probably like in the big, places like LA and New York and stuff like that. But I've been seeing a lot of big buzz about this one. This one is clearly earmarked for some Oscars, so if you want to go give that a watch, The Power of the Dog. Other movies, Mixtape and Single All the Way, all of them drop on Netflix, so there you go. Like I mentioned, no movies coming out in theaters, at least from what I was able to find, not even limited releases. So, if there's anything you need to catch up on that's still playing in theaters, get on it. Ghostbusters Afterlife is really good if you want to go watch that. I hear some pretty good things about Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. I've not watched it yet. I do want to watch it. Didn't do so well in the box office. I think people just because, it was just because it was probably the holiday weekend, and really that's not really a holiday movie. They probably would have played better around Halloween, but obviously you had Halloween Kills, so they probably just didn't want to compete with that. But I've heard some pretty good things about it. So there is that. What else is out there? If you can still watch Last Night in Soho in a theater, you can go do that. I don't even know what's playing in theaters anymore. I don't even go to movie theaters as much as I used to, so I don't know what's there now. So that's it, everybody. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast this week. I very much appreciate it. I always appreciate you guys stopping by and listening, especially when I do these very scuffed recording sessions. Again, I don't know how the audio is going to turn out for this, so I apologize for that. But hopefully this won't happen again. Hopefully I can find a room next time at my job where I can record it, even if there's a little bit of an echo. But anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning into the podcast this week. I very much appreciate it. You guys are awesome. You guys are great. I appreciate you. Be sure to check out all the links down below, links to the social media for the podcast, links to my personal page if you want to give me a personal follow, links to other places you can listen to the podcast no matter where you're listening to. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcast, on YouTube, on Spotify, and on Stitcher, very much appreciate you guys for listening to all those platforms. If there's another platform you want me to put the podcast on, please let me know and I will do that. I will try to get up there to the best of my abilities. So thank you guys so much. Very much appreciate it. Hopefully you guys have a fun, safe, and warm weekend because, it's, starting to become winter, at least if you live in a state where you get winter. So, yeah, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. You guys are great. Be good people. Have a good, safe, fun weekend. Stay safe out there. That variant's out there. So just, be careful. And, yeah. All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. Be good people. And as always, go watch some movies.
Whoop whoop! Yeah! Give it up! Movies!